Hey, everybody. We are live with Peter Freeman from Crunch Time Coaching, a very good friend of me and Tennis Files and Tennis Summit. And it's really a pleasure and an honor to have Peter on this special live stream. And I hope you all have had a fantastic week of Tennis Summit 2024. It's been a long but really great one. And I was actually just on the court about 20 minutes ago practicing some of the serve technique stuff that was on the stream. Oh, yeah. Dedication. I had a workout class before that, but wanted to really get out there, and I was so excited to practice it. So still a little bit sweaty from the practice. But hey, everybody. Hello, Scott. Let me highlight some peeps here. Scott Levy is here. Hello, Scott. Lisa, great to see you again. Rick from Toronto's here. Dr. Nordstrom in the house. What's up, Doc? Yana, hopefully I pronounced that right. Looking forward to this one. Paralysis by analysis. Yeah, that's a big one. We all suffer from that. Let's see. Very technical explanation. Got confused. The gentleman of biomechanics. Oh, Gavin, who worked with Sabalenka. Tossing arm and inverting. Yeah, that's an interesting tip. I tried that and it actually works well, but it's really difficult, like at first, if you're not tossing in that type of technique with the holding the cup. Mark checking in from Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. Isn't there a TV show that's there? Ozarks?
Yes, we talked about that last time.
Oh, yeah. Right. I remember. Ryan.
Oh, Ryan in the house.
Ryan Reedy from 2 Minute Tennis. He's a beast. Definitely check out his stuff. He's great. And he was on the summit.
These are all my peeps.
Sharon. Oh, yeah. Awesome. John from sunny Victoria, BC. Beautiful. Jamie from Philly, longtime summiter.
You guys
Great
are
to
awesome.
see you. Yeah,
Awesome.
they are. Roddy from Texas. Everything's big in Texas in the house. So yes, Peter, how are you doing? How's everything going?
I'm doing good now that I got this technology figured out. My iPad threw a curveball at me, and I was having such trouble getting on. Made me download the app. Didn't want me to use the browser. It's like, enough. You're not using the browser anymore. You're downloading our app.
Yeah, well, this is your opportunity to shine. Oh boy, what a joke!
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. We were almost gonna go in this mode, but since Peter got his iPad going, we're good in this mode here.
Yeah.
So Dave played 3 sets of singles this morning. Beautiful, love that.
He's an animal. He'll go out in the snow and practice his serve and stuff. He's crazy.
Snow way. Sorry, I had to do that joke too.
No,
great job,
guys,
dude.
It's the end of the summit. He's losing his mind.
Hey, you know what else?
Exhausted.
Hey, you see this?
What are you doing?
I'm cracking open a pineapple beer. I know everyone's gonna make fun of me. Oh God, is this gonna leak? So just to celebrate, a nice week of the summit. Although I have a little announcement for you all, which you'll enjoy, I'm sure. We got John from Phoenix, Mark enjoyed watching Ryan serves analysis. Beautiful. Did I mention?
I did
Tim
too.
as well?
I watched it too. It's very good.
Yeah, really good. So thank you. Keeps coming in. Dario from Uruguay. Beautiful.
Oh, Uruguay's amazing. I was there a couple months ago, and it stole the show. We went to Argentina and Uruguay. Uruguay is so beautiful. I loved it.
Wow, awesome.
The people there are great too. Very classy, very chill, just like good people. Great vibe. Look at Mehrban drinking this pineapple beer. First of all,
my, this is incredible.
It sounds
This is
good.
incredible. Oh, did you say it smells good?
I said it sounds good. Pineapple beer sounds really good.
Oh my gosh, this is delicious. I'm sorry, everyone, if you don't drink, but I just, it's been a long week. All right, a few more, Peter, and we'll get to it. Sorry, I just love seeing everybody here. Dario, greetings. Greetings to you. Hello, Majunath. Nice to see you. We were DMing a little bit earlier. Rick, isn't that a ladies' drink? I knew it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's delicious. It's delicious. Yeah. Glenn from South Jersey.
That's right. That's where I made my mark. South Jersey. I grew up playing South Jersey tennis. Went to Oak Crest High School. I'm on the wall of fame. I'm on the wall of fame there. Just so you know.
Well, I'm not surprised. You're a famous guy. So, a couple more. Sorry, Gene. Love the summit. Love to hear that. I got your email too, Gene. Daria, too bad I miss you to play some games, Peter. 2M play. Cool. Beth. Hey, Beth. Hi from Poland. Portland. Oh, wow. That's a cool photo.
I like that photo. Beth
and another Beth. Beth, are you like a professional horse rider here? That's pretty cool. Really
It's
cool.
very cool.
Virginia. That's near me. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Peter. So let's get it going. I know the peeps want the content. So
Yeah.
we're here to talk about how to play smart winning tennis without overthinking. And yeah, as I was mentioned earlier, analysis by was it paralysis by analysis? Yeah, that's the one. Definitely, we can overthink while we're on the court. I'm naturally an overthinker with a lot of things, but we're here to learn from Peter, and I'll give my input as well. So, Peter, I'll let you fire away, and then we'll, maybe take some questions here and there. I'll ask you questions, and yeah, you go for it.
Okay, great. Yeah, you guys definitely, let's go. You guys definitely chime in as we go through this. So, the first thing to being able to play smart tennis without overthinking is you really want to start to establish what is your training environment and what is your competition environment. Really understanding the difference. And I think that this really hurts so many players is you watch a great week of instruction like this, you get so many great tips, you have them in your head, and then you naturally want to use them out in your matches. Maybe it's a weight or tray serve you want to get rid of. Maybe it's some little glitch or hitch on your forehand, something like that. Strategy is a little more easy to implement, although you still have to kind of like work your plays in practice so you're comfortable kind of running them, you know how they feel, and then you can execute them in a match. It's very hard to just get a tip and then go out there and do it, even if it's a strategy thing. Some strategy things are easy to do, but others take some reps to where you really feel comfortable doing it. Like, for example, chipping and charging. I had to work on that a long time before I was able to really do it successfully in a match. So, coach could say, hey, why don't you chip and charge here? Because, the person doesn't like when someone comes to the net. But if you're not very good at chipping and charging and coming to the net, that strategy's really not going to help you. And so when you are in a training environment, the best way to implement something new into your game is to close and take away as many variables as possible. Like, what are variables? The tennis ball is a variable. If you're really trying to just change something and get a new technique, like you'll see Ryan all the time, he's working down this basement and he's showing people how to swing. And I think that that's a great training environment to really start to work and be aware of something, is to just even, if you notice coaches, like lots of coaches talk with their hand and stuff. It's even being able to do things. And like one thing you want to do on your serve is have your palm down. So just like really watching your palm and studying it and seeing if you can get the exact motion of what it's like to get rid of the weight or tray, and having nothing. I would like to see you not even have a racket in your hand in the beginning, not even a tennis ball in your hand, and just study your hand movements just to make sure you get it right. Because once you start adding the racket and the ball, and then you're out there in the court and you got your basket of balls, right? And you're trying to do this new thing, the odds of you doing it successfully are not very good. They're just not. In fact, I had a lady today. Her name's Lynn. She's been following me online, and she has the weight or tray serve, and she was still had it today, and I said, have you gone through my racket drop challenge? She's like, yeah, I've been watching your videos. I'm like, okay, well, when's the last time you filmed yourself? Well, I filmed myself a couple of times. Like, when's the last time you did shadow strokes? Oh, months ago. When's the last time you worked up in the service box and worked on? Oh, well, then I'm like, so you're just watching my videos. You're not really implementing the new thing. So what happens to people is they don't give that training environment enough credit and respect and enough time, and then they want to use it in a competitive environment, and now they're overwhelmed with swing thoughts, and they're really not changing anything anyway. So on game day, wherever you're at with your technique, we want to have very simple tips. We don't want to be thinking about trying to do new technique. So what would be a good tip to give you that wouldn't have overwhelm? Like, for example, if I hit a serve in the net, I'm going to tell myself, and I think Gigi gives herself the same tip. I like to think arm up, head up. Like, that's something that is not too overwhelming for me, that I know if I can really focus on that, I'll probably get the next serve over the net if I just hit a serve in the net. So that's tip number one, is to really understand the difference between your training environment and your competitive environment. And don't marry the two. Don't be trying to think and implement new stuff in matches. I just don't think that's a good idea. What do you think,
Yeah, I
man?
love it. Yeah, no, it's really good. I was just writing some notes. I can list these at the end. But yeah, I do you remember? I think it was a few years ago where there's a lady who emailed me and she said so it was raining. She said, oh, I couldn't practice my serve at all because it's been raining for a long time. And I think me or you told her like, hey, like why don't you just do shadow swings? And then she said like, oh, I think it doesn't seem like real tennis or some weird comment, comment like that. And I don't blame her in a sense, but I think it's really important. Like for example, today, like when I got on the court, I actually did a bunch of shadow swings because I was trying something new. And to be honest, I probably didn't even do enough shadow swings, and I have to keep doing the shadow swings because if I think so, what happened was I would do a few shadow swings, then I would take some reps, but I would notice that the proper form would kind of start gradually go away. So it was very integral that I would be even doing like a ratio of like 2 to 3 shadow swings to 1 hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really, really helpful. And, like you said, I mean, you can't just start at like, okay, I'm going to change my technique starting the match. It's impossible. I mean, I've been in situations or time periods where I've actually practiced the technique for like a week, and then I played a match, and then like first few games or like maybe most of the first set, like I was actually doing fine, but then I eventually reverted back to like my old form. So just it shows the power of the shadow swing and reducing the environment. Like I think we've talked about this before, where you start as like just shadow swings, like, and then you progress to like maybe drop feed or drop the ball and hit, and then you go from that to like hand feed, and then like feed, and then finally you can play practice points, and then like practice sets, and then like an actual match. So I think it's really important, like you said, to just start with as few variables as possible.
Absolutely. Hey, look, we got rock stars on tonight. We have Ryan Reedy on. Now we got Total Tennis Domination, Kevin. If you could put that comment in
Nice.
there, that makes me feel good. I feel like special
Oh
tonight.
yeah,
Okay,
my man. I
let's.
love Kevin. He's so good.
Oh, he's
Like
awesome.
Ryan. Yeah.
He's awesome. Let's go into
Yeah.
tip number 2. It'd be interesting to see if Kevin agrees with me on this. If I can go 2 for 2. Um,
Mm.
and this one again, it sounds easy. What I want you guys to understand, a lot of this stuff sounds easy, but it's going to take time for you to develop even this very simple thought. So if you've heard it before, hear it again, because it's something you can hear, but you're probably not implementing it to the best of your ability yet. So tip number 2 to be able to play smart tennis without overthinking is to learn how to hit what you can hit and make what you cannot hit. And there is a mental side to that, and there's a physical side to that. Okay. One thing I've actually been hitting the last week, it's been fun. And one thing I'm even having to do more of, because I'm getting older, Mehrban, my body's hurting
What?
more and more, and I'm getting
You don't look
slower and
like it.
slower. I know, but it
No.
is true. I mean, it's just a fact. And so but I am pretty good at understanding my limitations. So I know that when I'm moving a certain number of steps out to the ball, which would be much less steps than Novak Djokovic takes, right? I mean, he can run a lot further and get to the ball and still set up and hit it. I can't run as far as Novak Djokovic, get there, set up and hit it. Maybe I can, I certainly can't get the balls that Novak Djokovic can get to, but, let's just think about a ball I got to run pretty far for. I call them 50-50 balls. And this is what really gets you in trouble is you can run a certain distance, set up and try and give it a good whack, and maybe you make it 50% of the time. So then you're starting to think, well, the reason why I'm missing this shot is, I'm not keeping my head down. I'm not following through. I need to do more of these things that I'm, watching on the tennis summit, where in reality, you have to realize physically the way you're getting there, the balance you're in, all that, how rushed you feel, it's probably always going to be 50%. It's no matter how many videos you watch, you're probably not going to get that thing up to 80, 90, or 100%. So that's a ball, whether you're running sideways, forward, especially forward, right? That we just want to get there and make it. Make what you cannot hit. So understanding your physical limitations. The pros do understand that. They will make what they cannot hit. It just takes a lot more for that to happen. They've got to have an insane drop shot that they're sprinting for. And then what do? They put out their hand and they either guide it up the line or hit a little angle or they're lob over their opponent. they don't run up there and whack at it because they understand that there's no way, they're so out of control, there's no way they can swing at that, right? But for us, it might just be a ball. I notice a lot of recreational players, it's usually a ball that bounces just before the service box and it maybe lands just before the baseline. And you're a step or two slow getting there, and you run up and you still give it a good swing, and you miss that easily 50% of the time. That's a ball. Why not just get up there, push it back and play and retreat to the baseline? Or if your momentum's coming forward and you think you should just follow it to the net, that's another good opportunity to do that. So that's your physical limitation. Your mental limitation, and this is where I just kind of disagree with some of, even my peers here that might be on this summit, is understanding your mental limitations of your confidence meter. When you are in a nervous state and you start to yell at yourself, you start to tell yourself to hit it, stop being a baby, stop being a pusher. To me, I've noticed that over the years, and it took me a long time to realize this, when I was probably in my 20s, I probably said, come on, man up and hit the ball, or woman up and hit the ball. Like, what are you doing? But I realized that watching students, especially from 3.0 to 4.0 to maybe even low 4.5, when they get in this worked up state, they try and still hit the ball, they do not make these shots because their arms tenses up. And right when they're going to get ready to hit, they do something I call a tweak or a tween, right? They're not quite pushing, they're not quite hitting. Their arm kind of locks up and disaster happens. Either dumps in the middle of the net or it flies into the fence. And so when you're having these nervous feelings, and you've got to have an honest conversation with yourself and say, I'm pretty nervous. I don't actually believe when I whack at this ball, even though I'm yelling at myself to believe and all this stuff, and I'm giving myself a good pep talk, I don't actually believe I'm going to make it. And that's okay. Knowing that you have another gear and I can still play aggressive. I can still chip and charge, which is a lot easier to do because when you are trying to hit something, right? It's built around, if you want to hit something, that's built around acceleration. And spin. Spin is your friend. But in order for spin to work, it takes acceleration, timing, and confidence, and good technique. If one of those is not there, it's not going to go in. You got to have all four or else it's not going in. So when you're in that position, you can push the ball and still hit. See, when people hear push, like they don't understand. I can rip a ball and push it. I can hit the ball hard and push the ball, and you can also hit it soft and hit a little touch shot and bring them in, or you can lob it over the net personnel. I mean, there's so much you can do. And since the racket is moving much slower, less can go wrong. I like to compare it to a golfer who's driving the ball. And if they're a little off with the drive of the club head, if that's a little off, it's in the woods. It's all over the place. If you're a little off putting a ball, you might not make it in the hole, but you're not, hitting it some crazy place. And so remember that as well. And that's going to take you time to develop. You got to really start to know yourself, understand your physical self, understand your mental self, so you can make good decisions.
Yeah, I love that, Pete. So an example for you that I can give is I was playing a singles. This is a practice set, but I was playing against a really good 5-0 player, my friend Greg, and he was ripping a lot of balls with heavy spin, like with sharp angles. And a couple of times, I tried to like do a sort of buggy whip or aggressive swing when I was stretched out wide, and I was missing those shots. So I said, you know what? Next time I have to retrieve one of those shots, I'm just gonna hit a nice easy slice, try to recover, get back, and that works super well. And he actually told me later on that was very tough to deal with because he felt like he was under even more pressure to hit a winner, get put the ball away because I was getting to everything and making the balls instead of missing when I was stretched out wide. And so I ended up winning it the set 7-5. It's practice set, so it doesn't matter too much, but still, just kind of showing how when I was stretched out wide like that and I was missing, and also mental wise, that like obviously I was affected and thinking, I'm not having success with that shot. Just go to the slice, nice easy shot, and helped a lot to stay more consistent. So great stuff.
Awesome. I love it. All right, let's keep moving through this list. The next one, number 3, to be able to play smart tennis. I think you guys should just do this, especially after I watched Jonathan Stokey's How to Break Serve. That was very interesting. He talked about, what's the number one stat to holding serve? He says it's unreturnable serves. It makes sense. And he gave the example. If you can get 2 serves in a game where the ball doesn't come back, and then maybe you play, 1 or 2 good points, now all of a sudden you're holding serve. So he said, so what if holding serve depends on, balls not coming back, how do you break serve? Get balls back. It's simple, right? And I've been telling my students to chip before you rip.
Mm-hmm.
So when the match starts, and again, it's something you have to work on, right? Because if you don't have a good chip shot, you just can't take this advice and go, okay, I'm going to chip before I rip. Like, then you've got to work on, well, what is it? Am I comfortable in my continental grip? A lot of people are not comfortable in the continental grip. That's why a lot of people don't have great volleys, is they haven't developed that comfort level in the continental grip. And that's what a chip feels like. It basically feels like a volley off the bounce. So just think of it, you're like, what is a chip, or how should it feel like? Continental grip, and it's basically like a volley off the bounce, same technique. And it really works well for my students. In fact, Mark, who is on, the guy who's in the Ozark, he's a big hitter. And he realized that when matches started, that first couple of games, he's given away a lot of free points. And then all of a sudden, you get in the hold. They're holding easy. You're missing returns. Again, your confidence meter can go down. And so if you're putting every ball back in play, and that's what he found. He's like, you know what? I found just chipping the ball back, get every ball back in play. And he actually sent me some videos. So we developed his chip first because he was a little off with his technique. But then once he got it, he's like, I'm putting the ball back in play. And guess what, Pete? My opponents are missing. I'm breaking serve more. Just the other day, I played just a couple of games, practice games with a friend. And I decided to take my own advice. I'm like, I love to rip returns, right? But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to actually try this too. So I chipped every single return. I did not miss one return. And we just played 4 games, and I won 4-0 because I the first game was really tough. Went deuce ad, broke them. Then I held serve. Then I broke them again. Then I held serve again. So taking that advice of, you get that chip going and the ball's back in play every single time, that puts a lot of pressure, especially those first couple of games. When are people the most nervous? I find it's the first couple of games and the last couple of games, right? We're out there. We got the butterflies going. You put a lot of balls back in play first couple of games, you're going to break a lot. And then, maybe game 2 or 3, because you're chipping, now all of a sudden you identified where the contact point is. You're seeing the ball better. Now, maybe you got a break on your belt. Now you can start ripping some returns. You can go for it. Go to that next gear. So that's number 3. You want to play smart without overthinking. Just chip before you rip, before you start.
Chip before you rip, my friend. Do you mind if we take some questions?
Go.
All right, time to go. Sweet. So Scott said, so what do you do in match play based on what Peter said?
Well, what is that? With the chip before you rip, or
what's the comment was at 8:15, so I'm thinking it was, it might have been understand your limitations, probably. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, I think it's like, for example, Scott hits a great ball, but sometimes his knee bothers him and things like that. So it's really understanding that, hey, when I run, that's why I said it takes time to develop, Scott. You got to start to understand, when I take a certain amount of steps, I still try and hit the ball, what percentage are you making? And then when the ball comes into a certain zone and you only have to take a couple steps and you're lined up really good, rip that thing, because you've got a great stroke. Scott has great strokes, very solid strokes, but sometimes he's not feeling his best and physically he's limited. So he's got to understand that limitation and get to those balls and just make those balls and put it into a nice, safe spot of the court.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, Scott. And Pete, Raymond, Roddy, muscle memory takes reps. Totally correct. Totally correct. It really does. Ignition, deep focus practice, Coach Pete equals improvement.
Yeah, he's in my Totally Obsessed Tennis Club, and he's doing great. And he's the guy I was talking about.
Great job, Mark. Great job. Jamie, I've been having difficulty finding time to do my shadowing every day while playing 4 to 6 days a week. This is my most competitive time of year, so I'm mostly working on footwork and strategy right now. Well, I think it only takes a few minutes a day, right, Pete? I mean, what do you think about
Yeah, I
finding
mean,
time?
the thing that I've found too is, first of all, you should film it, right? So in the beginning, you got to, one thing I did, it's too bad I can't bring this out on I'm on my iPad. But one thing that was
Hmm.
interesting, my last camp, I had people do shadow strokes, and actually they were a good looking group. So as far as their strokes, so I even said, well, I think your strokes look pretty good. I think when we replay this back in the video coaching app, that you guys are going to have good contact points. And it was obvious, not one good contact point from all four of the students. And these are high 3.5, low 4.0 players with nice strokes. And, we'd come to the contact point and their wrists would be in this kind of position where we want to be more solid, and their racket face would be a little open. And I mean, it wasn't me like saying, hey, look at that. We'd go to the contact point, and then they'd kind of have like at this point look like, oh, like they'd see, like, no way is that ball going to go in. So you got to video yourself and watch it back. That's number one. Once you get kind of good at it, Jamie, and you can trust your stroke and trust your contact point. I mean, that's one thing I've noticed about really good juniors and even coaches. Like there's this one coach, I think his name's Coach Connor or something like that on Instagram. He's hysterical. And
Oh,
he
the funny
basically,
guy, yeah.
yeah, he basically talks about, tennis players in the mall and stuff like that. And he's just like, he's walking around the mall doing a shadow stroke. I mean, once you kind of embrace the process, like you can't stop shadow stroking. Like you're kind of doing it all the time, like around the house and when you're walking down the hall. And so I would say in the beginning, carve out 5 minutes of deep focus practice. And then once you kind of get it, I mean, it can literally just be walking to your car. Just like, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I've been shadow swinging a lot lately. Tom, Peter, you're dead on. The other side of this is injury chasing balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to up your fitness in that case.
Tom, are you signed up for Cincinnati? Are you coming back, buddy? Oh, comment below. Mehrban and I think are doing a doubles camp in Atlanta in end of July. Should we do it? We're thinking about it, but we need enough of you guys to say this is a good idea. If you think Mehrban and I should do a camp in Atlanta and you'd be interested in learning more about it, then write down yes or yay or I like this idea. Or if you're like, or you could say no, that would be dumb. We don't want that. Well,
Whoa.
Mehrban showing up with his pineapple beer.
Oh, it's a Sunday.
All
What?
right,
Hell no? Just kidding.
let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one.
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so number 4 piggybacks on number 3. Develop. It's so important, especially most of you guys are doubles players, and you're not looking up how to do this. You're looking up how to hit a forehand like Roger Federer, how to hit like Carlos Alcaraz, how to hit like Coco Gauff. That's what you guys are obsessed with, and I don't blame you. It's exciting, but most of you do play doubles. Develop a deadly chip and charge. It is so important. First of all, you'll be able to execute it more accurately when you're nervous. And I really developed this from my camps. Like I watch you all play doubles. You see that second serve coming in like a lollipop, and your feet are still, you wait on it, you overswing, and you miss most of these returns. When you chip and charge, first of all, you get more in a flow, right? And then also, hitting the ball feels great. And maybe in the beginning of the match, if you hit a couple of good ones, you crack a couple of good ones, you might be rewarded and the ball might not come back. But in games 2, 3, 4, and 5, once your opponent gets used to your pace, they love that ball that's hit solid. Everybody loves playing somebody who's not like going to blow them off the court, but maybe just a level above them. It's universal. People come off the court and go, you know what? That's a fun match. That's a level I need to be playing at. They hit a solid ball, right? So your opponent looks good, but what you really like about it is they hit everything in zone 3. Everybody likes it there. Zone 3 is basically like at your waist. If you hit a good chip play, think about it. Now you're making that ball go low and skid. They're having to hit up, and that's what you want. You and your partner want these shots here. So develop a deadly chip and charge, and develop 3 chip and charge plays: a deep one, a short angle one, and a lob over the net person. And then when you lob over the net person, you got to take Ryan Reed's advice. Don't overclose, because that's what you all do when you hit a great lob. Get your toes on the service line. I couldn't agree more with Ryan on that. See, I'm watching, guys. I'm listening to this stuff too.
Nice. Develop your chip and charge. Yeah, it's so important. Such an effective shot. I mean, the ball's gonna stay a lot lower. It's very hard for people to hit up on the ball and like hit an amazing winner or anything like that. And yeah, especially when you're playing players who have extreme grips too. It's really tough to bring that ball up. Should we keep going, or you want me to take some questions? They're really streaming in, these questions.
Okay, ask some questions.
All right. Lisa, takes mental calmness to have calm body. Tough to do during a point. That's true. That's true. I hope you were able to check out the mental game sessions. A lot of really good ones. Live streams too. If you didn't, to get it the all access pass, which we'll talk about a bit later.
And I got my best bonus pack ever. Right. So Mehrban.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, guys. That the summit is kind of coming to a close, and these are gems. I mean, I've watched so many this year. I probably watched it more than ever, especially you did a lot of good live streams this year, Mehrban.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was so fun. Alexa, oh, nice picture. So when we are told to keep doing what works to win, then when do we incorporate the new shots, tactics, strategies that we're learning into match play? Really good question.
In practice matches. Like, I think we are trying to implement new stuff way too early. Like it's human nature to where you're working on something new, you're kind of experiencing some success, and then you're like, I want to see this work in a match. And then when it doesn't work in a match, you're kind of disappointed. And that's when you kind of fall out of the belief of the system, right? You don't trust the system. So probably one of my best shots I still have is a slice backhand. Okay, my slice backhand's pretty good. Well, when I was a junior, I had a 2-handed backhand. I was probably 14. I didn't even know how to hit a slice backhand. And so I learned that around 14, like a slice backhand with one hand. And it took me 6 months of practice before I hit one in a match. And when I say one in the match, I probably just like hit, like my coach finally told me, like, this is pretty good. If you're playing somebody. So when do you implement new stuff in a match? This is a perfect time, either in a practice match or when you're playing somebody, and you have to really know, because you don't want to get yourself in trouble. That was one thing I guess that was kind of good about me. I understood my game, and I usually was one of the higher ranked people in the state or the section. So, I mean, I definitely knew the matches that I'm not going to lose this match. I'm just not, and then so if I got up a certain amount, then like implement 1 or 2 in that match, just because you don't want to go crazy, because then you can turn a match that's going well into a nightmare. So I would implement the new stuff in matches I knew I was going to win, and just literally hitting a handful or less of that shot until all of a sudden it started to become like, I started to feel like it flowing in the matches. Like it just started to come naturally into the matches. And the more you, again, work in your closed environment with either yourself, videoing yourself if you don't have a coach, or with a coach, and making things automate, it's going to start to just go into the match without you thinking about it so much.
Yeah, that's great advice, Peter. Appreciate that. Jamie, I've been playing around with Jonathan Stokey's return placement up the middle in singles this week. Excellent. I usually love to return to the corners, so it's an interesting experiment. Yeah, I bet you're making a lot more. Excuse the burping. You're a lot more consistent.
Look at that pineapple beer, just working its wonders on Mehrban.
Yum. But yeah, it's high percentage, and also a great thing is you jam players too when you're returning down the middle. It's very hard for them to create really good angles against you. Any thoughts on this return up the middle strategy, Peter?
Yeah, I like to chip before I rip right up the middle. I love Jonathan Stokey's thing on breaking serve. It was just solid advice. I mean, this made sense. He's a great coach. Beautiful. He's a great coach.
He is fantastic coach, great dude. Was a great player too. Let's see.
Yep,
Rick Tomlinson taking it on the rise, coming in works well on return of serve.
it does. It
Tough to
does.
time, but it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
again, you've got to be in a flow on that. You almost treat it like you see the way the pros kind of do a hop and then a hit. Like if you want to rip it, you got to have a little bit of momentum with your feet, a nice little shuffle, and kind of skip through it. Then you'll make a lot of those. If you're standing still and trying to rip them, most people just make a mess out of that.
Yeah, most definitely. Peter, let me know when you want me to let you go for the next ones. It's just we
I'm
have like a
ready.
ton of questions. Okay, okay, we can
Next one.
you go for it
And then
and
we
then
go
we'll
for
take
the
some more.
questions. Get your questions ready because the next one's pretty easy. It makes sense. And again,
Okay.
I got it from, and I bet you he might have said it again. Brent Abel, who's got like, I think now over 20 gold balls or something ridiculous like
21,
that.
yeah, crazy.
21 gold balls. If you don't know what a gold ball means, that is a national title. What's inspiring about that? He started collecting them when he was 35 years old. He's still collecting them in his 70s. So, and he asked another woman who has even more gold balls than him. It's like, hey, when you're out there playing, what do you think about? And she goes, I count to three. He's like, well, what do you mean? She's like, that's it. I just literally count to three, make three shots every point, and
Mm,
you'll win a lot of matches. And when you think about that, if you can count to three, 1, 2, 3, what is that? That's a 6-ball rally. Most rallies don't even go to 6 balls.
right.
So that is a great way to play smart without overthinking. And then again, as you're there playing, the more you know what you can hit and what you can make, now you're counting to three intelligently. Some of you might be counting to three, but then you're like trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're like, I should be able to make this and hit the crap out of it. But it's not a shot that you're making more than 50% of the time. So now all of a sudden you get to 1, 2, you lose the point, even though you're trying to get to three. So again, it's really understanding when I set up and I go to hit it, what shots do I most of the time make when I go to hit it? And if I'm not making that most of the time, like 80, 90%, maybe I should just make it because I'm not hitting the ball over to Serena Williams, who's going to crush it, or Novak Djokovic, who's going to crush it. I'm hitting the ball over to somebody just like me, who is not going to take advantage of every single time I just put a ball back in play. I'll probably be okay and safe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, tennis is truly a game of errors, and we know the stat with Craig O'Shaughnessy or from him where it's like 70% of the points end in 4 shots or less. And yeah, I mean, I was bumped down to a 4-5 this year, which was kind of surprising. But like I've been playing 4 or 5 matches now, and it's just like they're just missing more. Like they're just making more errors. That's really the
Yeah,
main
Mehrban, how
difference I'm
many
finding.
4 or 5 matches have you lost?
I've lost 1 out of 18.
Yeah, so he's
And
known 4 or 5. He's crushing. He's crushing this
oh,
year. And,
thank you.
and I
And
know
then,
it
and
went three sets. They ran out of time. We know the whole story.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, actually, that was sorry. Just real quick. That was 6-all at first set. It was hour-and-a-half time match. Had to play a sudden death point. So
Yeah, it
lame.
doesn't even count.
Anyways, yeah, exactly. But anyways, sorry. That's not really important. What else we got here? You want me to go to questions, or you had more? Sorry.
Questions. Because
Okay, awesome.
the next one's deep.
Deep. Okay,
Guys.
damn. All right, nice.
Yeah.
Jamie, I play on grass and everything else in the summer, so I find it vital to have both topspin and slice return options.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good.
more variety the better. More tools in your tool shed, toolbox, whatever. Warren, Alexa, there was someone on last year's summit who showed how to learn a new shot, the drop shot technique. He explained there are 4 levels of competence. Practice the technique, rally using the technique, use the technique in a practice match with no risk, and play a match. That's right.
Perfect.
That's right. I'm trying to remember if that was DeVore or I don't know. I have to double check who that was. So many coaches. Roddy, I think many folks, including me, struggle with shot selection given physical limitations. What shots would be better from a defensive standpoint to get back to an aggressive position? I think you mentioned some, Pete, but go for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's all what area of the court you are in, and it's also are you playing singles or doubles? Because obviously that changes. I mean, if you're playing doubles, probably the safest play is to lob the ball over. If there's one up, one back, lob the ball over the guy who's up. Right? I mean, that's a safe play. If you chip it kind of cross court, it could be poached on. And I find that most players under a 4-5 level, as long as you get the lob past the service line, even they can hit an overhead, they most of the time don't put it away. In fact, most of the time they miss it. If you're playing singles, look what the pros do. If they're getting stretched out wide, most of the time they'll hit that kind of cut shot and it will be floating, and they'll try and get it as deep to the middle as possible. And it's amazing how many times within a shot that they're back on offense. That person who is just sliding and, hitting it off pace back to the middle is back on offense within a shot or two. So if you're playing singles, I always like it deep to the middle for the most part. Yeah. But I mean, just high and deep is going to get you back in the point. Very few people that we're going to be playing, if you get a ball high and deep, are going to just whack it and put it away, most of the time. They might do it a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good stuff. Well, they weren't. I think that was Kevin and Megan Garlington who actually did the drop shot, because they did backhand slice and then talked about drop shot, if I remember right. Let's see. Scott, first point. Mark, my partner says what I am doing sometimes when I shadow swing around the house. Like, what am I doing? That's funny.
Yeah.
Improving your game.
You love tennis.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course you should. Of course we should do our camp.
Thank you. Excellent.
Great
presentation from Majuna. Thank you. Okay, Brian, any tips on keeping your eyes on the contact a bit longer without overthinking it?
I have a couple thoughts on this.
Bounce hit.
Number one, I made a YouTube video where I got in trouble with some players and some coaches even, because the clickbait, I will say it was a little clickbaity. I was like, don't watch the ball, or watching the ball is a waste of time. And what I meant by that is, I do know that there's a lot of people searching how to watch the ball longer, how to keep my head down, right? And that could be a reason why you're missing. But I think there's lots of things that we do in tennis that we use as scapegoats. Number one is watch the ball. Come on, watch the ball. What's wrong with you? Stop being lazy. Move your feet. That's another one. But when I'm giving these camps and I'm feeding you a ball underhand, 4 feet away from you, and I'm looking at your eyes, I mean, probably everybody here, if you're on this call at 8:45 on a Sunday night, you're totally obsessed. And so effort is not your problem. It might even be too much effort, too much overthinking, too much trying to watch the ball, right? And so what I find is that, yes, watching the ball, keeping your head down, that's good. Of course, watching the ball is important. Okay, I'm not saying it's not important. But I think you are probably, Brian, using it as a scapegoat. And racket head awareness is probably the reason why you're missing, not watching the ball. Because I'm looking at my students' eyes. I mean, they're like bulging out of their head, yet they can dump a ball in the bottom of the net, or they can hit one, long. And when you look at the video, right, the racket face is down here. The racket face is slightly open, especially on volleys. A lot of you think you're missing volleys because you're not watching the ball. If you want to get good at your volley, because very few people, this is something that I will say that probably 90% of players under 4.0 cannot do well. And you probably think, oh, Pete, I can. But if you're on my court and I said, hey, volley the ball to the camera, right? There's a good chance that when you're done your volley, and this is the strings, that your strings will end up being there. And then I'll say, look at your racket. Where's the ball going to go? And then they'll look at the racket and they'll go, oh, I guess it would go over that way. So being able to have the racket awareness to be able to lay it back, and then when you're done, it's literally the racket is facing actually at the camera. See, now you're going to make that volley. And also learning, depending on the height of the ball, like if the net is kind of maybe 4 or 5 feet away, that volley is going to go in, and that volley is going to go past the baseline. And and you might not even notice the difference, but I can see the slight difference, and I can feel it as well. Again, that's in, that's out. So having that amount of racket awareness is key. It's not necessarily watching the ball more.
Good stuff. Thanks for
what do people think about this? Are they saying anything? Are is anybody arguing with me? Do they like it?
Is anyone arguing? No, I think they're just absorbing right now. But yeah, let us absorption time like a dampener. But yeah, let us know what you think about that. But I think that was beautifully put, Peter. Let's see. Actually, Jamie, actually, to your point, I do shadow my forehand and my serve randomly all the time. However, finding time to shadow my new footwork patterns has been difficult. Okay. I mean, if you have a little room, you can do it. But yeah,
Jamie, I'm coming out with a 3-day. In fact, I'm either going to be filming tomorrow, Tuesday. Some of it, I'm not going to get all of it, but I'm going to do a 3-day footwork challenge. Pro footwork challenge is my next one.
Sweet.
My next challenge, yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Get that one, Jamie. Join that. Gene, what is the wrist movement on a serve when you're trying to prevent the waiter stray?
So very simply, and we're not going to go through this too in detail, but what you need to start to learn to do through your whole swing is keeping the palm down, okay? When the palm goes up, then the waiter tray happens, right? So I like to tell people to get themselves, I just came up with this because one of my people in the Totally Obsessed Tennis Club, they were watching me. I'm like, you got to get your palm down. You got to relax. And then they would be literally, their wrists would be so tight to be here and still be flexed back, even though they're watching, right? So again, you can't take things for granted, okay? That like, well, I would do it, So I like to tell people, give yourself some anesthesia in your wrist and have it go to sleep. See, now I'm nice and relaxed. That looks a little bit like Roddick, right? Because he's got a big, so now the palm is down, and now my job through the entire motion, as I'm doing this 360 move here in my shoulder, is to keep the palm down the entire time up into when I go up on the edge and then eventually go to hit the ball.
Thank you, Pete. Really good stuff. Did you want me to let you cover anything else? I mean, we still have a bunch of questions from all these obsessed players, which I love.
Okay, how about I go through the points really quick?
Yeah,
go for it. We can take questions. I'm going to go through this really quick, as quick as I can. But the next one's huge. This one is, again, easier said than done. In fact, this is do what I say and not what I do. As a tennis player, I didn't do this, right? I wish I was better at this because this is tough. But as a coach, this is what I see and I believe, especially when you study the best players in the world. Every situation on the court is positive. Think about if you could adopt that mentality, that no matter what's going on, nothing bad can happen to me. This is all good. Okay. And what do I mean by that? When you're playing a match, every time you're either going to be leading, you're going to be even, or you're going to be down. Right. And so when you're up, it's going, okay, this is great. I'm up. How good can I be at closing a set out? How good can I be at being aware of why am I winning? And let's keep doing what I'm doing to win. Okay. Now it's even. Maybe it wasn't even. Maybe you were up 5-2 and all of a sudden it's even, now me, the player me, not the coach me, if that happened to me as a player, I might be going, what the hell is going on, Pete? You suck, man. You're just up 5-2. Now it's 5-5. Like, this set should have been over 20 minutes ago. Don't be player Pete. Be coach Pete. Coach Pete would say, look, it's 5-5. This is great, right? I have a chance to win the match. Ebbs and flows happen in every sport. That's part of sport.
Totally.
Watch the NBA. Players that are look at the Denver Lakers series. The Lakers in 2 games were up by 20 points and they lost both those games. Okay? So that's just a natural part of sport. So if it's 5-5, this is still a great chance to win the match. And then finally, the hardest one is to adopt the Rafa mentality. You're down 4-0. This is great. Okay, I'm down 4-0. This is a good chance for me to work on my skill of how do I respond when I'm down? Do I just cower away? Do I feel sorry for myself? Do I say it's not my day? I hate this pusher. I want to go home. I hate the wind. It's too hot. Here I go again. My backhand's gone. Or are you going to be like, you know what? I'm down 4-0. Let me work on my skill of at least making the last couple of games a nightmare for this player and see if I can scare them a little bit. Take more time in between points. Win 1 point, act like I just won 4 points and freak them out. So we're like, whoa, I thought you were just about to lay over. Now all of a sudden you're showing me you're fighting, right? Stuff like that. Work on that stuff because that's what Rafa does. We never think this guy's out until he's shaking hands. Otherwise, we just don't believe he's going to lose, especially in his prime. So that's that. Okay.
Nice.
Next one is this is another big one. You should write this down, guys.
I'm writing it down.
If you want to play smart tennis without overthinking, every time you go and have a doubles match, your number one goal and your number one job is to make your partner feel great about themselves. First of all, you're playing with a person, not a partner. And tennis can be a sport to where it can be very selfish. Like you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, I got a match day. I hope I play great. I hope I do this. I hope I win. I hope my team, believes in me, right? I hope I hit the winning shot. And what you should be doing instead is going, okay, I got a match day. How can I connect with my partner? Even if I'm not playing well, how can I still be open to talking to them? That's another thing I see is because it's all about you when you're out there. You start missing a couple of shots, you are unapproachable. You might not even be aware of it, but your partner's kind of looking at you like, oh, I should just maybe leave them alone. They look really upset. That's not good. If you're that person, you got to change because doubles is a team sport. And again, it's your job. It's your job to bring two heads together and try and figure out what are the problems on the other side and how do we pick apart those problems. If you're somebody that you can't be talked to when you're losing, if you're somebody who all of a sudden your partner's not playing well, and in your mind, you now have 3 opponents out there, right? Your opponents and then your partner, right? I know that too, right? Where you're just like, oh my God, my partner, like they suck today. Like, oh, they're killing me, right? If you're having any of these things, you've got to change the way you think about playing doubles. Your number one job as a doubles player, whether you're the better player, whether you're the weaker player. Also, if you're the weaker player too, it's your job to break out of your shell. Yes, your partner might be better than you, but if you're somebody who's kind of like cowering and like not wanting to talk and not wanting to bother and be over there in the corner, your partner needs you to make some big plays. And the more you can open up and build a rapport with your partner, you're going to feel more comfortable with this person, rather than maybe being afraid to make mistakes for them. So it goes whether you're the better player or the lower player. You've got to learn how to make your partner feel great. That's your number one job.
Yeah, you reminded me of when I played actually I think it was 8-0 nationals back when I was a 4-5, which I am now again after a while. But I played me and my partner played against these 2 people from Texas, and every time one of the players missed, the other player said, like either yelled or said, like would say we needed that point. Like it was so ridiculous, and like the partner just was demoralized, and like she looked at me and I looked at her, and like she just shook her head. And I think the more positivity you can inject with your partner, I mean, the better they're going to play, obviously. So and you're going to have fun. So I really like that goal and the way you're like humanizing the partner. I think there's really very surprising how much disrespect sometimes the partner gets. And even like there was one person on one of my 4-5 teams like a couple weeks ago when the partner missed, like he would slam the ball in the net or kind of say something that was a little bit, you could tell was kind of condescending, and that was kind of disappointing. But yeah, I really like those points, Peter. So appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you, my friend.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go to the next one. The next one is everybody hates to play the pusher. What's another more respectful term for a pusher? What is their playing style? Counter puncher.
Counter puncher.
The next time you play a counter puncher, bring them to the net. And I'm being literal. I'm not being like exaggerative. Like write it down. Bring them to the net. 100 times. If your result is not different after literally trying to bring them to the net 100 times and doing it pretty good and sticking with the game plan, if you don't have a different result, if it's a pusher you usually play and lose to and you go, I can't believe I lose this person, or it's a pusher you go like it's neck and neck and 3 sets all the time and you're getting frustrated because you start overhitting, bring them to the net 100 times. Remember, what is the term counterpuncher? It means that they're good at getting punched. They want to get punched. They like the idea of you throwing a punch and them responding to the punch. They're used to getting hit. They like that. They don't like to be invited like, hey, why don't you come hit me? Let me see what you got. They don't like that. They're like, no, I'd rather stay back and have you hit me and respond to that. So make them hit you all day long. See how good they are at being offensive. Bring them to the net on your terms. You know, one thing I would like people to do, just try. You play a counterpuncher, you work the point, and probably a lot of coaches are going to disagree with me. But again, really be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, how great are you in the midcourt? How great are you at coming in at close? You know, I hear coaches all the time because it's just like coaching terms, or maybe the coach was really good at it. Like I was a serve and volleyer. First and second serve, I would come to the net, serve and volley. Every time there was a second serve, I'm coming in. Right. So, but if I'm trying to coach my students like me, well, you just come to the net off a counter. You just got to keep attacking. Right. That's a very generic coaching term. Right. And well, how's that working for most people? Right. You're there telling your student. And again, when I was younger, this is what I would tell them. And then they come to the net and they're like, oh my God, they just got lobbed. Oh my God, they just got passed. Oh my God, they just missed another ball. Well, they're not good at the net. Why am I telling them to come to the net? So you work the point. And then the first opportunity that you get in the midcourt, rather than thinking about attacking, that's a great opportunity. That's a great part of the court to intentionally bring them forward. They're going to freak out. They're not going to know what happened. They're like, what? Wait a second. This is where someone usually comes and, attacks me. And I'm not talking about like this beautiful Carlos Alcaraz drop shot either, because they're probably good at recognizing that. I'm talking about you get there and you hit like a nice little firm chip that stays low that forces them to come to the net. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And just real quick, Peter, sorry. So I had Mark Sofolis on the summit, obviously from Tennis Menu, and he wrote this fantastic book called Mastering Tennis Tactics, and it's awesome because he has this chart where it's like, what is your playing style, and then who are you playing, what type is their style, and then what do you do? And just like you said, for the majority of game styles, when you're playing a counterpuncher, it says to drop shot, bring them to the net. So, because I mean, the whole point of the way you should really be structuring your strategy, as you said, is to try to use your strengths as much as possible, direct them to the opponent's weakness. So obviously, the counter punchers, like you said, their volleys are not great majority of the time, and that's the way to do it. So, well said again, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
9 and 10. 9. On big points, just lob. You want to win easy? You want to win? Do you want to win easy?
Yes, please.
Just lob the ball on a big point. Just lob it. Most people barely work on their overhead. They don't work on it enough. We don't feed enough overheads to our students. And it's such a big deal in matches, right? People just do not put overheads away. So on a big point, people are nervous, so their feet are not moving as well. Most people don't move. Recreational players don't really move great backwards. I mean, how many recreational players do you know that can do a sidestep back pedal? How many players do you know that can do a sidestep back pedal and then do a scissor kick overhead? Right? How many players do you play against who don't have a waiter tray? Right? If all of these things are like, yeah, I play a lot of people have a waiter tray. Yeah, I have a lot of people who don't move great backwards, right? Lob the ball. Because if they've got a waiter tray, it's very hard to snap it and see. Look at this. If I got a waiter tray and I'm coming like this, long. Only when I get to like there am I going to finally make these overheads, right? Again, see? This is a waiter tray coming at an overhead. You see, as opposed to, again, right, the palm down move. That's why it is kind of a big deal, especially if you want to get to a 4.0 and beyond, to get the idea of getting rid of the weight or train, get the palm down, because now I can snap it, like I can slam dunk the ball and get it down faster if I am comfortable to get in a palm down position on serves and overheads. Okay, last but nowhere near least. In fact, today, one thing that was interesting, I love Andy Roddick's podcast. It's awesome. And he talked about that one time when he was warming up, that Jimmy Connors, when he was coaching him, basically roasted him. That's what he said. I got roasted by Jimmy Connors. And he said that Jimmy Connors was watching him warm up. And he's like, hey, you know, why the ball is coming slower. This is your time to really, you know, work on your footwork and make it meticulous. Why are you wasting this time just kind of going through the motions? And he said after that day, he never did it again because it actually made sense to him. He actually, you know, and he knew that Jimmy Connors had some of the best footwork. In fact, on the little video he made, he acknowledged, like, Jimmy Connors had some of the best footwork of all time. So when he told me that, and it made sense, he didn't argue with it. He just like, okay, I'm going to do that. And so number 10 is train your feet for high performance. Train your footwork for high performance. And what do I mean by that? I don't actually mean going back and getting the fountain of youth. For most of us, that's not going to happen. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast or call here tonight, I recognize I've gotten slow. And if I were to classify myself as fast or just fair or slow, I mean, I used to call myself fast. I would literally say, I'd have to say, I think I'm like slow now. Like I'm legit slow. I'm not even fast anymore. I'm not even close to being okay. I'm slow. But when I do watch myself on video, if I'm filming myself playing, my footwork is still excellent, right? Because I've trained it. Footwork technique is not foot speed. There's a big difference. And what does really good footwork do for you? Number one, it has you make these little adjustments to when the ball is coming to you, you get out of the way and you hit a good shot. It has you play more in a flow. So you're thinking less and just playing in a great state. You know, if you watch a junior, lots of juniors, and you watch the pros, a lot of them, as they're moving their feet, they might be saying, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Oh my gosh, such a big point. But if you're watching it as an observer and they've developed really good footwork, you're not thinking they're nervous. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I could play like that when I'm nervous, right? Because the footwork also gives an air of confidence. It looks good. And the execution becomes a lot better. When you see people out there at the recreational and their feet become very flat, their strokes also look very tentative. You can be like, oh my gosh, like my student's so nervous right now. It's so apparent. And then the other big advantage is if you watch the pros, they all work out and do footwork exercises. I mean, now that social media is out here, it's one of the very positive things about it is you can see how they're all working out off the court and how much dedication they have towards their footwork. Why? Because they know footwork on the tour is a non-negotiable. Everybody's got to have great footwork. So having great footwork on the pro tour is not even a big advantage. Everybody's an amazing mover. If you're somebody in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, and you have good footwork, it's like literally you're doing something that 90% of people are not doing. Like, why wouldn't you take advantage of that? And you cannot listen to what I'm saying right now. This is maybe the most important thing I'm saying all night. You cannot listen to this and go, Pete's right. Tomorrow, damn it, every time I play now, I'm going to move my feet. I'm going to move my ass. That's what I'm going to do. You're not. You cannot yell or tell yourself to move your feet. You've got to train the footwork. That's the only way it's going to start to automate. Just like getting rid of the weight or tray, you can't just tell yourself to get rid of the weight or tray or watch a video and a miracle is going to happen. You've got to train your body to do it correctly. It's the same thing with footwork. You've got to work on your footwork off the court. Move your ass feet. You've got to train yourself to where your footwork is automated. That's why I'm going to do a 3-day footwork challenge for you guys. But anyway, I'm done. That's it.
Dude, honestly, I'm not BSing. Like, I can't wait for that footwork one. Like, it's really, I've analyzed my footwork, and like, even though, I play at like a decent level, whatever, 4.550, but I'm seeing inefficiencies, and especially on the back end side. And yeah, definitely y'all should check that out. Be
Yeah,
aware of
and
that
and
footwork.
by the way, guys, this is not going to be some like Novak Djokovic footwork workout, like impossible to do, super advanced moves. The 3-day footwork challenge is going to be like, basically like, okay, how do we flow in a rally? How do we flow after we serve? How do we flow after we return? How do we flow in the mid court? And it's not going to be anything super advanced. It's going to be pretty easy. But the more you work on these patterns, you're going to start doing it in matches. So don't be intimidated by it. It's going to be nothing super physical, nothing super difficult to do. We're not going to be doing like a ton of like karaoke moves and things like that.
Yeah, awesome, love it. Adapting it for the peeps. Let's see here. Where are we at? I can take some questions, or you want to keep going? Okay, cool. Oh, I'm sorry, we did this one. Let's see. Glenn, post game Zen meditation with incense chakra focus would be a good class at camp.
Okay.
I like that. We
Mehrban,
we were
I'll
doing.
let you run that one.
Okay, I'll
With
look
your
for it. Or I can.
pineapple beer.
It's very zen, this pineapple beer. Tom, Mehrban, I'm 65 and still the 3.5. Just don't go running down those good lobs that I know I can't reach anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, but you gotta
But that's the other thing though,
strategize.
Tom, is because you do move pretty good for your age and everything. Be careful about getting in the secret no man's land. What happens is people get on the offense and instinctually you close the net, especially because coaches all the time are telling you close the net. You need to more listen to Ryan. Ryan says, hey, when you get a lob over the net person's head, get your toes on the service line. Like when you hit a great shot, you actually don't want to close as tight to the net, because what likely is happening is they're going to choose defense. The worse your approach shot, the more you want to get comfortable getting on top of the net. Because just think about, what would you want to do if somebody fed you a meatball and you actually set up in time? Do you want to lob that ball, or do you want to crush it? You want to crush it. So you should then close when you hit bad shots. When you hit good shots, be a little careful about how close you get to the net.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's see here, Rick. Chip and charge works well for players who like to come to the net.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Yeah,
Of course. And
yeah.
also work on that, right? Because what I went from in the 12 and unders, I went from being a wall, a defensive wall. Like I was, 10 feet behind the baseline, kind of more of the style the way it is now, side to side, never missed. And then in my 14 and unders, I started to develop a serve and volley game. So I had to learn all that stuff. It didn't come natural.
Yeah, a lot of hard work there. Good job, Pete. Let's see, Roddy. 3 chip and charge options is right on the money. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Let's see, Mark. I've been working on developing variety in my shots because I hit in zone 3. I've started randomly chipping, then throwing up a slow loopy ball with spin to break my opponent's rhythm. That's very smart.
Love that.
Very smart. Good job, Mark. Awesome. Keep it up. Mark, you need the all access pass. Very difficult to watch it all. Plus, it's great to go back and rewatch it anytime you want. That's definitely right, Mark. Yes.
Well, should we get into what, since you're closing, what is the all access pass? How much longer do they have to get it? And what is the serve mastery gold collection bonus that they get?
Yes, sure. Yeah, let's go into that since Mark mentioned it. So, yes, let me get the screen up here. Just take
As
one
Mehrban's
second.
getting the screen up, if you did buy off my special link, I have sent out the bonuses to everybody up until people who have purchased today. So if you've purchased before today and you still have not got an email from me, then either maybe you just missed it, you didn't see it come to your inbox, or somehow like maybe it was a non-deliverable or something like that. Because I do think I'm getting 1 or 2 non-deliverable emails when I put it in. So email me at crunchtimecoaching@gmail.com and say, hey, I'm not getting the bonus that you promised, because I have been sending it out.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Thanks for mentioning that, Pete, and thank you for sending that out as well. Yeah, really good stuff. All right, well, let's go to the all access pass. So, as Mark had mentioned, it's really good value, and it's something that you can refer to over and over again. So obviously, with All Access Pass, you would get the lifetime access for this year's summit sessions, all of them, including the live streams as well. But on top of that, you also get um, the audio MP3 downloads, so you can listen to those anytime, anywhere. I mean, I love to listen to audio files like when I'm driving or cooking or in the shower, things like that. So that's also great to be able to listen to that. It's almost like you have podcasts of all the sessions. And then you also get transcripts of all the summit sessions, which, believe me, it's tons of hours. I think like hundreds of hours probably of work from my team to transcribe these sessions. So if you prefer to read sometimes what the coaches have are instructing, then you can check those out as well. Teams working on those and uploading those in the members area. You also get a tennis summit implementation worksheet as well to take notes on the most important points of all the sessions. You also get exclusive access to the summit Facebook group. So, you can post questions and then discuss with other members, or myself will pop in there. And then, Pete, I still have to send you the link so you can pop in there too, which I appreciate you mentioning that. And then you also get a members only live stream with me as well. I'll notify you about that. And then also there's many special deals and discounts from the coaches as well. So, there'll be links to in the members area beneath the videos. But then perhaps the most exciting is Peter has been kind enough to give us his best bonus package yet. Definitely. You'll get access to his Serve Mastery Gold collection, as well as 30 days free access to his Totally Obsessed Tennis Club, which we heard that there's several people here who are in that already. And Peter, I'll turn that over to you. But you can see the value here of like all the stuff you're getting for this. It's a one-time fee, by the way, and you get all this stuff. So it's really high value. And yeah, so Peter, can you explain more about your bonuses?
Yes, and if you could bring that up, that'd be great. And Dario said, can we still upgrade using Pete's bonus? Yes, if you're using my special link, which Mehrban, if you could put that maybe in the chat so people could click on my special link as they're watching. I'm going to ask Mehrban to do a lot. He's got to open up my bonus, and he's got to put the special link in there.
Yeah, let me just double check finding that bonus there. But yeah, while I find it, you can start chatting about it. Let me see. I'm trying to find it. There's so many emails here. But you can go through some questions too if you want.
I will go through it. Mehrban will find it. I know he'll be clutch.
Yeah.
So basically, the first one is you're going to get my 3x power serve course. So, most people, when they play tennis, one of the things I hear over and over again is that I wish I had more power. Okay, I wish I had more power in my serve. So basically what I did when I made that course is I discovered through people sending in their videos, I looked at 30 videos, and I noticed that there was 17 what I'd call power leaks. It was just like little things that people would do in their kinetic chain, which is basically from the ground up, that would leak power out of their serve, right? It would just take some power away. And so what I did is from the ground up, I built the course so that they could, here we go, so that they could eliminate their power leaks and replace them with power sources. And so we've got a lower body portion of the course, a midsection, and then the most important section to me is the upper body and throwing motion. Because if you've got a great kinetic chain working all the way up to the arm, but the arm motion isn't right, that's the most important part. You're definitely not going to have a powerful serve. So this is your opportunity to hit a serve over 100 miles an hour. The value of this course is 67. That's why I sold it for. But the value is much more, because what I like to explain is if somebody came to me and said, hey, make this course for me, right? Let's say one of you, let's say Tom Nordstrom, let's say I was not an online instructor. And he said, I want you to put every single idea on video from the ground up, how I can improve power in my serve. Because that's basically what I think about my courses. I either say like, no, Tom, I don't think I'm going to do that. I love you as a student, but I'm not going to do that. But he's like, no, man, I mean, I'll pay for it. Like, seriously, what would that cost? What would your time be worth? I mean, I'd have to charge Tom like $5,000 at least for all the time I put into one of these courses. But the beauty of the internet is you've got the power of the people. So then we're able to drop the cost down a lot to where it makes sense for you to buy, and it's a kind of a no-brainer, and then for me to sell, right? So that's where we come up with that $67. But I mean, the actual value of the information is much more than that as far as time put into it. Okay, let's go to the next one. Did you skip one?
Oh, sorry. Did I skip?
Yes, you did. Second one is second serve confidence. Too much pineapple beer for you tonight. I'm cutting you off.
Sorry.
So are you getting nervous? Are you sick and tired of getting nervous on your second serve? Do you hit too many double faults or resort to the powder puff second serve that ends up getting creamed half the time? My second serve confidence course shows you step by step how to develop a serve that is safe, but also doesn't get picked on by the competition. So after the course, you're going to be able to eliminate your double faults and have a second serve you can depend on. And I take you through how to get a nice slice second serve, how to get a nice kick second serve. That's the key. You got to, if you want to have a second serve you can depend on, you got to have spin on it, right? And it's built around acceleration. You can have a second serve, up to a 3-5 level to where you're just pancaking it in and still probably do okay, right? I'm not saying that, you can't go out and win matches like this. But if you're somebody who's ambitious and wants to play and you can see the delineation, like it's clear as day. You look at a 3-5 court, you're seeing people starting to develop a spin serve and still lots of frying pan second serves. You look at the 4-0 plus courts and you're teaching pros at your clubs, you're not seeing that. You're seeing the spin. So I teach you step by step on how to do that. Plus we even have a little mental section in there because the second serve can get into your head. So again, that's another $67 value for you. And you're getting it on the house with Mehrban's Tennis Summit. Okay, let's go to the next one. Slice serve mastery. I believe the slice, I really do. The slice serve is the one serve all recreational players should master. They want to go to the next level because you can do so much with the serve. You can ace your opponent out wide. You can slide it into their body. You can hit fast slices. You can hit an off-pace change-up. And you can hit the serve anywhere in the box. I think it is a more versatile serve than the kick serve. And it also takes a lot less physicality, okay? The slice serve is my favorite serve to teach. And you're going to be serving the curve in no time, $67. But again, yours on the house when you upgrade for Mehrban's amazing work he's done.
Thanks.
Okay,
Appreciate
next one. 3-day racket drop challenge. Even in my lesson today, because my student had the waiter tray and she thought that she was doing, it was kind of like great person, but it's kind of like talking to a student who knows they didn't do like their homework and still trying to tell the teacher that they've been working, right? Because they've been watching the videos. But I said, if you really want to get rid of the waiter tray, you need to go through the 3-day racket drop challenge. And it's done all off the court. And it is it's a step by step as it gets. And if you really want to get it, don't chase the shiny objects. If you've had a waiter tray for years, you stick with that. It's not, don't do it a couple of days and then all of a sudden you see a video on a platform stance versus a pinpoint stance. And then you start going, yeah, maybe my serve would get a lot better if I had a pinpoint stance rather than the platform stance. Like that's not going to fix the waiter tray. Like, you just got to stay focused on this 3-day racket drop challenge and do it over and over and over again and video yourself until you see that you've got the palm down 360 move. You do all those exercises. I'm telling you, it's impossible not to get rid of the waiter tray, but you've got to keep doing it. And you can't be watching the videos and going, that makes sense. Like, no, you've got to go through the videos and do the work. $37 value. Okay, next one. Okay, so this is the Serve Gold Mastery Collection. You've got the $67 3x Power Serve course, second Serve Mastery course. You've got the kick serve mastery course where you can develop the sick kick. I think we skipped that one, but basically it allows your kick to actually kick and go up. And the racket drop challenge. Now we don't need to go through it. So it's this $305 value, but wait, as they say, there's more. So plus there's more. And that is 30 days free access to the Totally Obsessed Tennis Club. So what is the Totally Obsessed Tennis Club? The big promise of the Totally Obsessed Tennis Club is that we're going to finish your technique. If you've heard about Jorge Capistani talk about what is deployable in match play, right? You have to understand what shots can you deploy in match play. That's what we're talking about. Building confidence in your entire game by going through all my technical challenges. You're going to be able to eventually finish your technique if you really go through and you do the work. These are all step-by-step challenges on the serve, on the forehand, on topspin, on the backhand, on slice backhands, like on volleys. It's all there. On double specialty shots. I've got them all there. We're getting ready to add the footwork into it coming up here this next month. And so you go through these technical challenges over and over again. You're going to build more and more confidence. You're going to build more and more myelin in your body, which is basically muscle memory. I'm not going to go too much into it now, but it allows you to send messages fast and accurately through your body on autopilot. That's what the pros have all developed. I just saw a post by Yannick Sinner, and I loved it because it feeds right into the talent code. He said, talent doesn't exist. This is Yannick Sinner, our hottest player on the tour. And he said, talent doesn't exist. It's hard work. And it's doing these deep, focused progression practices that I lay out in all my challenges. If you really want to have good technique, this is what you do. There is no skipping steps. And then the second part of the Totally Obsessed Tennis Club is we then teach you how to implement simple strategies once you're not overwhelmed with swing thoughts. That's the big promise. You can try it for 30 days so you can see everything. You're getting all my challenges. You're getting all my tennis cons. You're getting all my courses I built. Plus, you get access to me. For example, tomorrow, I'm going to email my list. And I'm going to tell them that this Friday, I'm going to do live streams all day to where my students can show up and they can pick any shot that they want to show me. And they can show it to me and I'll be able to say, hey, you need to be able to do this. You need to be able to do that. You're missing a little bit of that. And then giving them a drill to do. So it's very interactive as well. And you try it for 30 days. If you do have to put your credit card information in. If you like it and you're saying, yeah, I want to be part of this group. Like, this is pretty good. You do nothing. And after 30 days, you will be billed $199. I just want to be clear on that. If you're like, no, I don't want to do this. I just don't have time to do it. Or I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Right? You can then send me an email at crunchtimecoaching@gmail.com, and then I'll make sure you don't get billed. And even if you do get billed, like in like the first month, like, oh, I forgot. Like, just send me an email. I'll just reverse the charges. Like, no big deal. I don't want to force people to be in a club that they don't want to be into. Okay? It's not the Hotel California where you can never leave. You go anytime you want.
Awesome, Pete.
Right,
awesome.
that's it.
Sweet. Okay. Let's put us both back on. So yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, I think that, and as mentioned, we got, some people are really enjoying the all access pass. Say it skillfully says, echo that, definitely get the all access. But yeah, it's just a great reference point for you all. Let's say you played a match and you feel like, oh, I felt like my forehand broke down. Like, I think there's something technically wrong. You can go to the library and check out, the relevant lesson, or if it's your serve, we have a ton of different lessons on that you can, learn from and go back to as a resource. And yeah, it's just a great value, especially getting like all the stuff, all the bonuses, and then Pete's like amazing, bonuses, which in itself is worth more than what you're paying, the one-time fee, which is like pretty much like, in some places it's less than the cost of a tennis lesson. I pay more than that for my lessons. So private ones. So yeah, really good value, and definitely highly encourage you to get that. And yeah, it's expiring very soon. So the ability to get these things. let's see. I think there was a comment from somebody asking if they could still get it. Oh yeah, Dario said, "Can we still upgrade using Pete's bonus?" Of course you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Have you put my link into the chat so people can
Let
click on it?
Yeah, let me put that in again. But yeah, let me do that. And if you see any other chats you wanna take, Peter, feel free.
Well, no, I mean, I just do encourage people to upgrade to support Mehrban's Tennis Summit because think of it like we're tennis PBS. Like the more you support us, we can keep this thing going. It's not easy to put on. It takes a lot of time, and as much as we'd like to say, well, we can afford to do this every single year for absolutely 100% free, in reality, we really can't. We need the support of the tennis community. You guys make or break this event, and luckily, you guys have. Thank you so much. You've been able to make it go now for its 8th year. So the more you keep supporting the event, then Mehrban will go, I want to do Tennis Summit 9 next year, and come up with more cool stuff for everybody. So I just encourage that if you've enjoyed it, that you support it. I think that's all I want to say.
Yeah, thanks so much. We really appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, we do have a team actually, working as well to get the content up and maintain things and yeah, just make the transcripts and audio files and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely really appreciate your support there. It's
Yeah,
very, very helpful. So
I just put in
yeah,
the link. Mehrban put in the link.
I
So
did.
the
Yeah, I
link is in
did.
the chat, guys. The link is in the chat.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So check that out for sure. Wow, we've gone an hour and a half already, Pete. Jeez.
Yeah, I
Time
think
flies.
that was pretty fun. We can take a couple more questions where they have the all access. Now, how long? When is Tennis Summit coming to a close? Is tonight the last night? When is it?
Yeah, Peter, sorry. Yeah. So actually Wednesday would be the last day that you can get the all access pass.
Okay.
So that's the last day, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
got to shut it off at some point to help people, get situated and everything. And then, who knows, maybe in the later future, I might open it up, but I think most likely it'll just be not until next year's summit if we can get that rolling with your support. So yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. So yeah, we'll take a couple more, I guess, Peter. Peter, we really wanted to do Cincinnati again this year. Our daughter was just married 3 weeks ago. Maybe next year.
Okay. Well,
Nice.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Yeah.
congratulations. Yeah. Oh,
We'll give
show
you a
your
pass.
trophy. Yeah, we'll give you a little pass. Show your trophy again. Of course, I take that question. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, section combo mix
Nice.
section league champion. Yeah, just
Nice.
a little nicer than the Wimbledon one, like Peter said. Um, let's see. Let's see. Greetings, James. Hey, can you talk about the relationship between watching and tracking the ball and timing?
I think
Hmm.
we
You did
hit
talk
that one.
about that to some
But
degree. Yeah.
another great one, if we are talking about watching the ball and getting into a flow, um, I love the bounce hit exercise where it's just so simple, but it really works. Is if you watch the ball come in and you say to yourself, bounce, and then when it's time to hit, you say hit. It really is a great exercise. You probably don't want to be doing that so much in a match unless you can make it flow, but it's great to practice. And it might even help you in some points of the match to especially if you're losing your timing, to say bounce and hit. And one thing I had my student do, which worked really well, and then I was even doing it, I was even saying as I was doing it too, is I was saying to her, when you get set, I want you to say bounce hit. When you're on the run or it's a tricky shot, I want you to say bounce push, right? Or bounce make it. So to really understand and see what ball should you be hitting through that you can just give it a nice swing, and what shots should you just make in the court. I think that's a nice little twist to that classic exercise. Oh,
Yeah,
somebody has
100%.
bought an all access pass from us, so I just want to thank
Sweet.
them. Thank you so much. Very
Awesome.
nice of
Awesome.
you.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Just want to read my friend's comment. Arash, I have to give a shout out to the best dubs partner. No offense to any of my boys, but Sabot is truly a great person to be partners with. We're buddies, me and him. So I just wanted to give that shout out. Sabot's a really good player, like Arash is. who's the author of Mastering Tennis Tactics. That's Mark Sofolis. Really good coach there. I put the link for his book a little while back. Arash, I agree on the footwork. You got to say that louder for the people, Pete. Yeah, it's so huge. Okay. Maybe the last one, Pete. Do you have any favorite drills that can be done during knee injury recovery?
I don't think that's the greatest one for me. You know, I'm not a big physical
PT
coach, but I will say this. This is a good story that I got from one of the tennis cons. Is Joe Dinifer, who runs On Court, Off Court, who's a master coach, got to see Roy Emerson play a Division I college student when Roy Emerson was 60. If you know Roy Emerson, he has the most Grand Slam singles and doubles out of anybody who's a male. Okay. And he was known as the fittest Aussie on the tour, you know, and I got to interview him and he'd say, you know, I said, well, how you train for, you know, 5-set matches? He goes, well, you're going to play 5 sets, you play 6, right? Like he was just like, his Aussie mates would do 50 kangaroo hops. He'd do 100. So his hips, his knees, everything shot. And Joe watched Roy destroy a Division I college player when his knees were gone and his hips was gone. And so he said, instead of split stepping, he noticed that he did like a little knee bob. Like his feet didn't officially lift off the ground. He just kind of like, he'd be a little bit lower in a little bit athletic position. Then when the guy went to hit, he'd rise up a little bit. So when he came down, he could move.
Oh,
and he still kicked the guy's butt. At 60 years old, he beat a Division I college player.
Wow, that's really cool. I like that. Wow,
Yeah.
awesome, good stuff. And Scott said already got the all access pass. Awesome. Love to see it.
Scott,
yeah,
if you could confirm for me, did you get my? Well, Scott has all my courses anyway, but I just want to know it's working. Did you get my email on the bonuses? And by the way, I just want to thank another order just came in, and another order just came in. So people,
that's awesome.
I really, really appreciate you guys doing this. This is very, very nice.
Yeah, that's super.
And tomorrow morning, I will email everybody who signs up tonight. I will download the sheet. If you've already signed up, I'm just going to put everybody. I pretty much just take the list every time because I figure people might miss my email. I just copy all the email addresses. So if you've gotten the email from me 3 or 4 times, like, I apologize. Don't get mad at me. I just want to make sure that everybody on the list gets their bonuses, because I realize you might miss my email and not see it, or you don't log in and then you forget that I sent you the email. So I send it multiple times.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Peter. Yeah, I think this has been super fun. Appreciate it, Peter and everybody. And, you know, as I mentioned, I put the link to Peter's link in the chat, so you can check that out. And appreciate the support, and really want you to take advantage of, you know, the summit, lifetime access for the one-time fee, and also the bonuses as well. So, yeah, Peter, I think this is probably a good time to end on. Just maybe any last words of wisdom before we adjourn for tonight.
No really words of wisdom other than well done again. You know, I since I do Tennis Con, I mean, I know all the work that's put into it. And whenever I talk to a coach or a student and we talk about the tennis summit, you know, because I do lots of in-person events, and, you know, often I'll say, how did you find out about me? And they're like, oh, I think it was like the tennis summit I might have seen you on. And then I'll say, nice. Mehrban is like the nicest guy. Like, it's like the way he comes across on video, like, that's just who he is. Like, he is the nicest guy. So, you know, what you see is what you get with Mehrban, truly.
Thank you so much, Peter. Same with you. It's, I mean, I feel blessed whenever we're, you know, online talking, but especially when we're in person, like meeting up, it's like, I just get so happy. So hopefully, you know, we'll see each other, you know, later this summer. And yeah, I really hope that everybody enjoyed, the summit and this session and Peter's great wisdom. So really a lot of amazing content for you to, pick at least, pick one or two for now and just work on them. And yeah, and check out the All Access Pass as well through Peter's link that's in the chat. So thank you, Peter. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, hope to see you again soon.
Dario,
So.
and yeah, so tomorrow morning, be looking for it sometime before 10 a.m. I will send an email, and it will have the user and so you already have some of my courses. It will be a separate user and password, so I can get it out quicker. Does that make sense? Otherwise, it's just impossible to do it one at a time. So I basically have made a user and password for the gold, the serve collection. And so you'll get the email, you'll log in, it will be there. Okay. If you have any trouble, just email me at Crunch Time Coaching. And I do just want to thank people. I see people are signing up, and I really, really appreciate it.
Sweet. Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks again. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you, Peter. And we'll see you next time. Take care.